Monday Night Raw, your amplified review, 10/27/2025. One of the worst Raws I have ever witnessed. And that's saying something, because every week seems to be one of the worst Raws I've ever witnessed. But when the whole wrestling world was telling Helmsley how bad that booking botch was last week, and if you're gonna do a face versus face world title match at Saturday night's main event, well then it has to be LA Knight versus CM Punk, because you, doofus son-in-law, you already planted the seeds for such stupidity between LA Knight and Punk. See, you might as well just go with it. It's the only thing semi-interesting anyway, because you have no top heels. So what's he do? He goes Jason Uso again. He goes with Yeeterman. This whole year, he's been going Yeeterman over LA Knight. Numbers have been going backwards at an alarming rate. His own tried and true, quote, universe turned their backs on him this whole week. And he doubles down. He tells them to fuck off. He puts LA Knight in the middle of the ring tonight. And he has him look up at the lights after a spear from Braun Breaker. So everybody that was saying, dude, you screwed over LA Knight again. He said, oh yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. He said, don't forget who has the magic booking pen. And he put Knight in the middle of the ring, and he had this dude looking up at the lights. After, mind you, he did a backstage interview with Jackie Redmond 15 minutes earlier. And he talked this big game about he didn't get it done at Battle Royal, but whoever wins between Uso and Punk, he's coming for that title. He talked such a big game, and then he went out there and he lost, flat on his back looking up at the lights. We all know he's not one of Helmsley's, quote, boys. Because Knight doesn't kiss Helmsley's ass. He doesn't look at Helmsley like he's Papa H. Instead, LA Knight looks at Hunter Hearst Helmsley like everybody else, like the dumbass that he is. The doofus, who just happens to be the son-in-law. LA Knight, once again, drops more stock on Monday Night Raw. You had an opening segment where the whole show was based around this big, quote, face-to-face between Punk and Jey Uso. Do you guys want to know what you got in this cold open teaser? Because I'll let you know. You got 6 minutes of promo time where they said absolutely nothing. And you got 12 minutes of yeeting. You got double the amount of time spent on the promo yeeting. That's all you need to know. Your main event was a tag title match between four faces, Alexa and Charlie Flair versus Val and Bayley. BC must have been a really huge ending then, right? No, the Kabuki Warriors beat up on the faces. And the show could not have ended any more anticlimactic than it did. This show was so bad. So bad that I'm going to end the cold open teaser. We're going to get right into it. Because I know so many of you don't watch the show. You just trust BC's review on it. So sit back, Max, relax while BC drops the facts. I hope you got several beverages. You're going to need them. That's how bad this show was. Let's get into it. Sleepy Joe Tessitore welcomes us to Anaheim. Actually, he doesn't even welcome us. The first image we see are some sexy palm trees. It's Anaheim. And Sleepy Joe Tessitore says, "This is Anaheim. And tonight, many plots, twists, and turns as we head closer to Saturday night's main event." A vacuum could not hold a candle to Sleepy Joe. Joe Tessitore sucks all of the energy, sucks the air out of anybody who's trying to garner any excitement for a Monday Night Raw or a WWE show. Not that there's any excitement going into it anyway. But Sleepy Joe Tessitore makes sure that he sucks any bit of energy out of you before the show even starts. I understand, gone are the days of the heavy pyro and Jim Ross screaming what a wild night we have in store for you as Jerry Lawler is screaming over him. And that wild rock music is blasting all over the arena as everybody's throwing their signs up. And it's a party and then some. I understand those days are gone, but why are we doing the exact opposite? Why are we absolutely sucking the energy out of everybody before the show starts? He sounds angry, sleepy and angry, like we just woke Sleepy Joe up from his nap. Sleepy and angry that he has to commentate this Chuck E. Cheese circus of a show. Something has to be done. Something has to be done. You're starting a show off like that, and you're wondering why you lost over 60% of your viewers from January 6th. It hasn't even been a year. They lost over 60% of their viewers. They started nearly 6 million global viewers. They're down to about 2.3 tops. 2021 at times. Where did your audience go? Right from the jump, I don't blame them if they're switching to anything. This is even before football was back. They were jumping off of Netflix. They'll go and watch Steve Urkel. They'll go watch Dawson's Creek. Some frickin' Teletubbies! All the wrestlers then show up to work. Alexa has her coffee. Charlie Flair steals her coffee. I felt for Alexa in that moment. You don't take somebody's coffee. Penta has his mask on with a hat over the mask. It looks like a total goofball. Know who walks around like that? Penta. Everybody's showing up to work. What a magical thing. Thank goodness. Walmart should start doing that. Starbucks, McDonald's. Just have everybody showing up to work and just start recording them. Hey, there's Billy. Yeah, Billy. You gonna make those coffees today, Billy? Let's give a round of applause for Billy. Yeah, here comes Stacy! You're gonna be heating up those lemon loafs, those cheese danishes, Stacy. You get on that microwave. Oh, Daryl's showing up. Whoa, Daryl! Nobody thought Daryl was showing up today. He's got his coffee, some luggage. Where you going, Daryl? You're just taking the orders today, Daryl. You don't need luggage. They're showing up to work. Awesome. Every single week, Joe Tessitore instantly puts you to sleep. Then we watch everybody show up to work. Hey, the wrestlers are showing up. Maybe there'll be a show. You already see the repetitiveness? I'm trying to paint you guys a picture, and I'm not embellishing at all. So many of you do not watch these shows. I say it every week, every review. You say, thank you, BC, for saving me several hours. And I say, you are welcome, because it is a chore. And I'm glad you're appreciative, because this is exhausting. This is how these shows start every week. And then usually you go into 10 to 15 minutes of Jason Yeeterman yeeting. And you wonder why this shit sucks. And if you're wondering, yes, that's how we started the show. 10 full minutes of Yeeterman yeeting. No, guys, legit. I'm not like embellishing a minute or two. 10 full minutes of this dude yeeting. Helmsley would not end the song. Even when Jey Uso was blown up, they had to cut to the wide shot because Jey Uso was blown up. And they kept the song playing. So then he started doing some weird dance thing. Audience didn't know what to do, so they just, there was waves of like, should we yeet again? Nobody knew. It went on for 10 minutes. Helmsley didn't want the music to end because then we'd be left with just lame-ass Yeaterman trying to cut a promo, and that doesn't work. Even Helmsley knows that. Then we have to do the nauseating one more time, Oos. One more time. Ooh, one more time, right? With the stupid hand movement, and then we do another 2 minutes of yeeting. And Sleepy Joe, for the third time, tells us that they're sold out 3 times in 10 minutes. He actually says when you sell 13,800 tickets, you can yeet one more time. Yeah, I'm sure Yeaterman packed the arena. Had nothing to do with CM Punk or the fact that you were bringing in SmackDown talent or that close to Saturday night's main event. Had nothing to do with the fact that it's Anaheim. They'll pack the house for Tozawa versus JD McDonald's. And by the way, I have confirmation it was not a sellout. Many people there in Anaheim. Many people. Droves of seats. They made it really good looking on TV. So I can't even blame WWE for having, I can't blame Helmsley for having Tessitore say several times in the first 15 minutes that it's a sellout because they used to be able to say that for a few years. This year, they're not selling out anymore. Their ego is hurt. So even something close to a sellout, they're gonna brag like they just did the best thing since sliced bread. Let's just amuse them, man. It looked packed, so you can't blame them. They were having an orgasm for a potential sellout. CM Punk was out next. This was just bad. It was 6 minutes of total promo time. 12 minutes of yeeting, 6 minutes of face-to-face promo. Even Punk had nothing of substance to say. Jey Uso said complete bullshit, something about, I'm not listening to anyone anymore, and it's just me, Oos. 4 letters, 1 word, mild. The crowd went mild. I told you, this dude is all about the theme sauce and nothing more. He is a theme song. He sucks on the mic, he can't even cut the promo, and he doesn't even have the backing of Helmsley anymore in terms of promos and long wrestling matches. Go back to the show Unreal. Helmsley told you on the show Unreal that he had to protect Jey Uso. He was telling Bruce Pritchard, Michael P.S. Hayes, I think we have to go into protection mode. Because he was botching all the time in the ring. He was winded and blown up during promos. Guys, that didn't stop. Helmsley is still trying to protect him. He has no confidence in Jason Yeaterman, but his ego is so big, Yeaterman will continue to get the, quote, rocket and be pushed. Because he cannot come to the terms of the fact he failed. He put the rocket on the wrong guy, it just didn't work. The kid's Yeet, he doesn't even reach number 1 on the merchandise. He's not consecutively selling out arenas. He's just not. And the ratings have gone drastically backwards. The Uso experiment has failed. And this whole first 20 minutes of Monday Night Raw was a failure. 6 minutes of promo time and 12 minutes of yeeting. Hunter Hearst Helmsley needs to be removed from WWE Creative and Content. Immediately. Yesterday. 3 years ago when he started. Helmsley sucks at what he does. This opening to Raw sucked. Could it get better? Let's talk about it. What am I saying? There's nothing to talk about. The whole rest of the first hour, one thing happened. A match between Rusev and Penta. Supposedly a number 1 contenders match for the IC title that Rusev has already been wrestling Dominic Mysterio for. Dominic Mysterio with 2 W's over Rusev. Low blows, by the way. Before Rusev is looking up at the lights, he's out-heeled by little scrawny Dominic. And then he looks up at the lights. So at least this week Rusev has a face that he is facing. Penta. The match was an absolute farce as the Grandes come out. Grande Americano, and he's got two other Grandes with him. One's called Frappuccino and the other's called Cappuccino. I actually think that's their names. I don't know. They mentioned it. It was kind of fast, but they have names now. And it's like Frappuccino, Cappuccino, and Americano. So they're going through the whole Starbucks menu now. But there's 3 of them, and they attacked both Rusev and Penta. So, it is clear they're trying to position Rusev as more of a face. But Helmsley doesn't follow any face-heel logic, so he doesn't mind everybody being a tweener. But Rusev gets attacked by the heel group. So 2 straight matches with Dominic Mysterio, a heel, being out-heeled, and then he's attacked with Penta the face by a heel group. You can't make this up. And then he gets back in the ring and he tries to take out the Starbucks menu. I guess that's their group name, the Starbucks menu. And he tries to take him out, but Penta helps him, and then Rusev goes to get Penta, but Penta turns around and Rusev's like, oh, I could have gotten ya. And it's almost like a mutual understanding, a mutual respect between Rusev and Penta. So are they going to add a third person and take on the Starbucks menu? I don't even know what. It's not even like a fun, I don't know where this is going, you know? That's like fun. Like, you gotta see what happens next. This is one of those, I don't know where this is going because it's so stupid. It is so senseless, nonsensical, nauseating, pathetic television. And that was hour 1. No joke, they filled it with commercials. LA Knight did a quick little 2-minute backstage interview with Jackie Redmond talking about, yes, I failed, I came up short again, but I don't know the meaning of quit. I won't quit, and whoever wins that title, rest assured, CM Punk or Jey Uso, I will be in line for that title, blah, 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 yeah. I mean, I've been pulling for LA Knight for the past several years for this guy to get a proper push. At some point, though, I mean, what else can we... Listen, at some point, it's just going to sound like gibberish. It's going to sound like wah, wah, wah. Nobody's going to believe you. It's the boy that cried wolf. You cry wolf, you cry wolf. Everybody rushes to the top of the hill. There's no wolf. I mean, by the time, if this guy ever does become champion, I mean, is anybody going to actually be around to care? Or is that Helmsley's whole plan? Just keep putting it off until everybody just has enough of LA Knight. Maybe that's the whole plan. Make him so irrelevant. Or just get us so tired of hearing LA Knights trying to go for the title again. But LA Knight cuts a backstage interview. Braun Breaker cuts a backstage interview, and they set up a match with LA Knight and Braun Breaker, of all people. That should be a money match, by the way, at a PLE. If done properly with a couple of months of build, why would you do that? Just give it away. Listen, they just did Dragunov versus Aleister Black in the middle of SmackDown, not even the main event. Just gave that money match away. This is what Helmsley doesn't know what he's doing. So everyone said at the Battle Royal last week it should have been Braun Breaker or LA Knight that wins it. Who does he go with? The same thing he did at Rumble when people said it should be Cena or Punk, and he went with Jay Yeaterman. So here's the Battle Royal last week. It should be LA Knight or Braun Breaker, and he goes Jason Yeaterman again. So now all we have, and then Helmsley had CM Punk and John Cena eventually facing each other. And he's doing the same thing here. Yeaterman wins, and now it's LA Knight, Braun Breaker facing each other. What in the world is this guy doing? But that's the first hour, man. That's the first hour. Do you honestly need me to recap it? CM Punk and Jason Uso had a 6-minute promo with 12 minutes of yeeting. I wish I was like embellishing a little bit. I wish I like just forgot a few minutes and maybe there's a really good part. I didn't. You got 12 minutes of yeeting and 6 minutes of really bad promo work, even from CM Punk. But I can't even blame him. He has nothing to work with. And then we had a Rusev Penta match that ended with the Starbucks menu interfering. That's it. That's hour 1. That was your hour. And if you're hoping that again, okay, BC, hour 2 must have picked up, right? Nikki Bella had a match with Roxy, Roxanne Perez. Bella gets hit with pop rocks. Roxy wins. Defeats Nikki Bella via pinfall. Listen, Roxy finally got a victory. I was going to say a pinfall, a victory, period. Roxy desperately needed that. It sucks that it's at the expense of Nikki Bella. Her appearances are scarce as it is, so you have to be careful where and when Nikki Bella loses. Because this could have been much bigger for Roxy. Much more impactful if here's a wild concept, if you actually built a program between the two. And I know I'm asking for something out of this world right now, but a month and a half, bare minimum, of some type of story, and then at a PLE, Roxy defeats Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. Right? Could have really sold on the fact that Roxy picks up this big W. Instead, it's in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, literally in the middle of Raw. Hall of Famer Nikki Bella getting pinned 1, 2, 3. Hey, again, Roxy needed a W. Her last 10 matches televised, bare minimum, I believe she's lost them all. If she won, maybe it was 1 out of 10. She needed that W. Just, you could have been more impactful with it. But that was hour 2. The start of hour 2. It was just Nikki Bella, Roxy. Nothing happened. After the match, Steph V got in the face of Raquel, I believe, and Nikki Bella was like in between them. But nothing. If you were hoping for something like really, really big, something really creative, no. Helmsley has nothing. What was funny is they did a 3-minute video package on Asuka, and it centered around her 914-day undefeated streak. That was extremely hilarious because Goldberg and Hunter Hearst Helmsley have this wild beef with one another. They just don't like one another. They try to be cordial. Helmsley keeps trying to get Goldberg to be a good puppet. Goldberg keeps talking all this trash about Helmsley and WWE, but then when he needs a payday, he comes crawling back, says one more match. Let's do one more thing together. And it's so odd, this dynamic. So recently, I've been talking about it in the last couple of Amped Ups. Goldberg has been shading Asuka big time, just calling her some girl. Before even this latest interview, called her that Japanese girl. But yeah, some girl beat my streak, and WWE did it on purpose and this and that. So he was shading Asuka, shading the company. And so Helmsley, the very next Raw, just has a random video package of Asuka's dominance, and plastered on the screen is 914-day undefeated streak. I mean, that is Petty Paul being Petty Paul, but at least I guess you could say, is it standing up for Asuka, or is Paul just taking another jab at Goldberg because he can? I honestly think this is a lot less to do about Asuka and more about Petty Paul's ego. But I mean, that's two massive egos colliding there. Goldberg and Helmsley. Goldberg keeps talking that smack, and Helmsley's got the TV time to jab even harder. So yeah, that was a real thing, man. An Asuka video package out of thin air. And then Braun Breaker pins LA Knight clean in the middle of the ring via spear. This whole week, The whole wrestling world has been letting Hunter Hearst Helmsley know just how big that booking botch was last week with Jey Uso winning that battle royal. The whole wrestling world letting Helmsley know, dude, what are you doing? That was obviously LA Knight that should have won that because you numbnuts. The doofus son-in-law is the one that planted those seeds. LA Knight, CM Punk. Nobody else booked that stupid shit. Because it's stupid. It's a face, a top face, versus a top face. Or at least LA Knight should be booked like a top face. He's not. But we know that he is. So all you're doing is splitting your audience. But okay, if you're going to go face versus face for the championship, the world title at Saturday Night's Main Event, it's LA Knight CM Punk. That's the match. That's the only match people would care about. But Helmsley couldn't do that. There's no way he could put LA Knight in that spot. He doesn't like LA Knight. And he doesn't like fans. He can't stand fans. He never truly wants to give you exactly what you want. So add on the fact that he doesn't care for LA Knight anyway, because Knight is not one of his, quote, boys. He's not one of his tried and true NXT black and golders. He doesn't look at Helmsley like he's Papa H. He doesn't buy into Helmsley's BS. So LA Knight will not get that spot. Just like the Rumble and so many other times, Knight will get screwed over in favor of Yeeterman, of all people, Jey Uso. So for this whole week, just like we've been doing for over 2 years, we've been letting Helmsley know you're screwing over LA Knight time and time again. We taken notice, and it's unacceptable. So what does Helmsley do a week after that booking botch last week and having LA Knight lose that battle royal? He has him lose in the middle of the ring in a one-on-one match against Braun Breaker. And yes, clean. I don't want to hear any interference from Bronson Reed or Paul Heyman. The finish of that match, LA Knight jumped off the top rope. Braun Breaker dodged it. Knight rolled, turned around, spear. That's clean. 1, 2, 3. Make no mistake about it. That's the ultimate FU to the fans from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. This is what he told you. This is what he does, right? When you don't accept his booking, when you stand up and speak out because you know something's not right, and it's bad, and it's affecting the program, it's affecting the show, it's affecting our enthusiasm and our fun for the product that we love. And pro wrestling, man. And Helmsley has to be held accountable. But when you speak up, and when you speak out, he says you're not a real fan. And what does he tell you? Remember, he said it several times. He tells you to fuck off. And this is him telling you again, because for a whole week, he's been hearing it. Even his tried and true WWE, quote, universe was pissed off because they know how stupid this is. So this is his way to say, oh yeah, you wanted LA Knight, huh? Yeah? You got him. You got him in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, and you're going to have him looking up at the lights. This was Helmsley's way to tell all of you, fuck off. This was the giant FU from Helmsley. He was in a mood. Petty Paul was in full effect, man. Goldberg was getting it for taking jabs and shots over at Asuka. The fans are getting it for not accepting his booking last week. Well, here's your LA Knight. You thought losing a battle royal was bad? Don't forget what I can do. This is what Helmsley's saying. I have the magic booking pen. I'll make this guy lose every week in the middle of the ring to any guy I want. That's Helmsley telling you, F you. Don't question my booking in the future. Dude's out of control. And he sucks at what he does. And he's creating trash television. That's it. There's nothing what more can we say? We know that LA Knight has been screwed every which way possible. We know that if he ever does get a real chance to win a title, maybe get a little bit of a run, it's not going to be the same as if when the momentum was electric. And his run could have been just white lightning hot. You're not going to get that. We'll never know what that would have looked like. because he's just spent the whole year giving Jey Uso every opportunity overnight when it should have been night. And last year, Knight was kept off shows and pay-per-views when he was still white lightning hot. If this doesn't tell you there's been 100 examples of Helmsley literally screwing LA Knight over, this isn't a cute little thing where, see, the more we make you lose, the more they like you more. Guys, it's clear as day. The electricity for LA Knight is not what it was a year or 2 years ago as it is now, but it's still there. That shows you it was never a flash in the pan. It was never a cute little catchphrase. 4 letters, 1 word, yeah. No. If Helmsley actually went with this dude, it could have been massive for the industry and a company that sorely needs, desperately needs top stars to actually feel such. And yes, it pisses fans off to know that Helmsley had this dude sitting in hhis lap and he went out of his way to screw him over and all of us over. But don't worry, you can still pay $5,000-$6,000 to go to a show and yeet your ass off. You can yeet with Yeeterman. How's that? It's pathetic. But isn't that Helmsley? Pathetic. And then there was a weird match with J.D. McDougalburger pinning Sheamus via Spanish Fly. First, Finn Balor hit him with a shillelagh, I believe. And then Sheamus is taking a Spanish Fly. And no, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, that was awesome. Sheamus really took one for the team, man. It was epic. He put on a banger. No, he didn't. It was stupid. He put on stupidity is what he did. What is he proving? His size, he could do a Spanish. Do you know what a Spanish Fly is? Do you know how stupid it looks these days? Everybody trying to do these Spanish Flies, they're literally getting up to the top turnbuckle and just setting up. I forgot who it was, but Sol Ruca. Was this when her and Zarya were going for the tag titles on SmackDown a couple weeks ago? But I remember Sol Ruca was one of them, and they get to the top rope, and they weren't even trying to, hit each other and make it look real, like a Spanish Fly is going to come out of nowhere. No, they took a full minute to set up. Maybe it was Kalani, actually. So maybe this was down in NXT. It was Kalani and Sol Ruca. But, I mean, they were just setting up. Nobody was even bothering to throw a punch or anything to, hey, this is taking a while. Should we maybe do some wrestling moves so fans don't think we're just setting up for, a gymnastics move? Nope, they didn't care. So you look at this finish. They're trying to get their footing. Sheamus is just getting the right footing to allow McDougalburger to Spanish Fly him. It looks stupid. Guys, this is not professional wrestling. I don't know how else I can tell you this. If you think it is, good for you, your prerogative. This is probably not the channel for you. I'm way too advanced. Maybe it's decades of wrestling and just having the knowledge for this thing as is. I don't know, but I'm too advanced. This isn't wrestling. This is why this doesn't work. There has to be some semblance of believability. That you can enter a realm of realism. And when you watch wrestlers take a full minute to set up the move, even if it's subconsciously you are taking out of that realm of realism, you are das booted from the spectrum of believability. That's just amplified truth. And I'm supposed to what on this review? Go, wow, man, Sheamus took the Spanish Fly. I'm not here to watch gymnastics. I know there's fans today that's all they care about. And they probably went in 140 characters online. And, wow, did you see Sheamus? He took the Spanish Fly. Who gives a shit? Who cares if he took a gymnastics move? That's not wrestling. I'd be more compelled if he took a badass DDT. And there was story behind it and emotion. And the selling was perfect. And there was psychology to it. I don't need a Spanish Fly with a dude of his size to set up for a minute for it and look stupid. He did a somersault. That's what a Spanish Fly is. Just the person doing it is doing a backflip. And the person taking it is doing a front flip. That's all it is. They don't even bother doing wrestling moves and then it comes out of nowhere anymore. They just set up. They just put their arms around one another, right? Watch it. They each have one arm around each. They set up. They give each other a little count, right? 3, 2, 1. Gymnastics! Go gymnastics! It's fucking stupid. Absolutely stupid. And then Maxine Dupri is backstage, and Adam Pearce gives her a championship match again. Maxine, you have beat Becky Lynch. How sad is this, by the way? Becky Lynch should be badass right now with a championship. She just had this good program with AJ Lee. I actually liked the program she had with Nikki Bella. And then they put her in this thing with Maxine, and all the momentum that Becky had, gone. Gone. She's in this weird thing for an entire month with Maxine Dupri. She's losing twice in a row now to Maxine Dupri. Her next big match will be Maxine Dupri because Adam Pearce just gave her a title shot. Oh, not so fast, though. This is hilarious. Remember I told you guys she needs a lot of time to rehearse between matches. She had up to 2 weeks bare minimum for the first match with Becky Lynch, and then it was another 2 weeks before they had their second match. And Maxine told Adam Pearce, you've never seen this before, she said, I thank you, and I'm going to take the match. I mean, he just gave you a title match. Of course you're going to take it. But she says, not right now, though. I want to make sure I'm ready. I just want to get some of my friends, she said, and make sure that they think that I'm ready so I can fend off anything that Becky Lynch is going to bring my way. And she's like giving all these excuses, and Adam Pearce is like, what is this woman talking? I just gave you a title match. And she's like, I will take the match, and I will shock the world. Just not right now. But soon, I'll let you know, okay? And Adam Pearce is like, okay, this is weird, so who's the number one contender? Okay, well, whenever you're ready, let me know. Guys, how hilarious is that? It's because she needs a lot of time to rehearse, first of all. And secondly, I think they're backpedaling here. I think I remember I told you they had no out anyway. Just like, hey, let Maxine go out there and let the crowd go, you deserve it. I think they have to go back to the drawing board and like, do we even have her take on Becky again? Because this isn't working. So, whenever Becky loses the title, does Maxine then go to Adam Pearce and say, oh, remember I had that title match? I don't even know. This is so bad. And this is what happens when you have a wrestler on national TV, not in NXT trying to wrestle or learn this wrestling thing, not out of school trying to learn how to actually wrestle properly. This is what happens when you have somebody with their training wheels on during live TV. Ronda Rousey needed all this rehearsal time, and eventually Vince McMahon had to pull the plug. Until this day, she's pissed. Maxine Dupri needs too much rehearsal time. It's not going to work. This was absolutely goofy. Handed a title match, and she's like, okay, but not now. BC was running everything I said about Dupri. There ain't no BS. BC spits truth bombs, amplified honesty, always. And I was right again. There was a main event of Charlie Flair and Alexa Bliss. They defeated Bebe, Bailey, and Valkyria. Faces versus faces. Nobody knows who to cheer for, so they're just they're just making noise, and that's all Helmsley. They're like, hey, as long as they're making noise for some of the match. Most of it, they were bored. They were putting on their phones, and Wade Barrett had to kind of save it. The Fireflies are out. The Fireflies. Yeah, or they're just trying to amuse themselves. Tessa Torre at the end of this thing. It was a double natural selection for the pinfall. Champions retain their titles, win this match. And Tessa Torre, Sleepy Joe, finally comes to life. He always does for the Maxine matches. For the women's match, Helmsley tells him, put everything into it. Put everything into it. Because they're trying to oversell, because it's just not that interesting. So, Sleepy Joe just starts flipping out, and that's why it doesn't fit. It's not believable because he's screaming and the crowd isn't that into it. Even after the match, you guys could check it out. Some people stood up, golf clap. You know, some girls are going, yeah! Most people are like, all right, that was the main event. I thought Cody Rhodes was on this show, because that's what we were told. He was being flown in. But no, that was it. So Tessa Torre is just screaming, oh my God, what a match! Oh my God, can you believe it? Exhilarating! What is that feeling in my pants? And Wade Barrett's laughing at him. You can see in the background Wade Barrett's laughing and as he takes a sip of water. And then when he gets back on, Wade Barrett is making fun of Tessitore for losing his voice. Because he was having an orgasm for this tag match, and it was just like, dude, I understand you're being told by your boss to hype it up. Where's this at the beginning of the show, first of all? But it has to fit. It's Charlie and Alexa versus Valkyria and Bayley, bro. it's a Monday Night Raw. You're acting like you're seeing Rock and Hogan in front of you, Michaels and Undertaker, Steamboat and Flair. I mean, this dude is acting like these matches. He did this with Maxine Dupri and Becky Lynch a few weeks ago. It's got a match, man. You screaming is not going to make up for Hunter Hearst Helmsley's bullshit booking and stupidity. It's not going to cover it up. This ain't makeup. And maybe it's best Tessitore does not scream at all during the... Maybe I take that back for the beginning of the shows because he's horrible at it. I had hopes for this dude when he started. There's a lot of... I don't know if wrestling and him fit, man. Not on a primetime show where we need energy. And not just chaotic screaming, just for the heck of it. That was your main event, guys. If you didn't watch the show and you're thinking, well, what's next, BC? Okay, you had the tag title match. No, that was it. The whole night was centered around this big face-to-face between Uso and Punk, and they just said nothing for 6 minutes, and we yeeted for 12. That's the truth. Jim Uso, because we heard Cody and Mid-Jim were going to be flown into Raw. Well, we saw one of them. I don't know what happened with Cody. Maybe he made an appearance in a dark match after. But Mid-Jim was backstage in a couple of segments doing some stupid brotherly shit with Jason Uso. Doing this stupid bickering, and then they make up, and then Uso's like, man, I ain't got much, man, so, like, I'm down on my luck, like, I need my oos, and Jimmy's like, I got you, man, and it's just, for years we've been doing this. It is so played out, it is so bad. So that was what the show was centered around. Punk and Jey Uso, they did nothing. They did nothing. Jey yeeted. For double the amount of time Punk was in there doing a promo with Jey. And then the matches, like I said, Pop Rocks, Roxy beats Nikki Bella. Penta and Rusev get attacked by the Starbucks menu. Braun Breaker pins LA Knight clean in the middle of the ring. Mikkel Dugelberger pins Sheamus. And Charlie and Alexa defeat Bayley and Valkyria. This is one of the worst Raw... They're all so bad. But, like, in terms of just top to bottom, nothingness, emptiness, nonsensicalness, patheticness. It's nauseating. This is easily one of the worst Raws I've ever witnessed. And that is saying something. Easily one of the worst Raws I've ever come across. So bad that that's it. I'm not spending another second on it. Lots of coffee to be had. Lots of traveling to do. We got a lot of business to take care of. So until next time, and there will be that next time. Top guys, we're out. BC in the unit. We're saying check you.